Welcome to the Stay Paid podcast, where we help agents and entrepreneurs master the latest business trends to unlock growth and create a life of freedom. Brought to you by ReminderMedia.
Welcome to Stay Paid. My name is Joshua Stike, along with Luke Acree.
I was going to say, and I'm Luke Acree.
Oh, and you're... Oh, shoot. Welcome to Stay Paid. My name is Josh.
And I'm Luke Acree.
And before we bring on the rest of our guests today, we'd love it if you take a minute to subscribe to Stay Paid on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify if you're not already subscribed.
Or YouTube.
And definitely check out our YouTube channel. Yes. Go to youtube.com/ReminderMedia, the wonderful publishers of this podcast, ReminderMedia.
Yeah, if people are wondering, like, what do Josh and Luke do for a living? We really don't know. We call ourselves influencers now. No, I'm just kidding. We're the furthest thing from influencers. But no, ReminderMedia is a marketing company. For those who are listening for the first time or are always wondering, what do Luke and Josh do? We've been a marketing company for over a decade, really 18 years now.
18 years?
Yep. Worked with about 136,000 small businesses.
This July will be our 20th.
Well, look at me knowing how to count really well.
Anniversary of our first product.
All right. Well, 20 years now of American Lifestyle Magazine.
Yes,
but
sir.
yeah, we do print, digital marketing. Been doing it for, like you said, almost 20 years.
Yes.
136,000 clients that we've helped.
Yep.
Last year, we worked with 60,000 clients.
Yep.
Give you an idea of our scale. I don't say that to impress anybody. It's just to share with people. You know, that's why we're passionate about marketing. That's why we're passionate about sales. That's why we do that or do the stuff that we do, because we're trying to grow our own business. We have about 330 employees right now, trying to scale it to 1,000. And all this is...
How many clients did you say we've worked with?
Last year, we worked with just under 60,000, but overall, probably greater than 136,000 at this point.
So if you're out there listening and you want to be client number 136,001, we actually have an amazing deal going on.
Oh, we do.
Right now. Today, this is Memorial Day, right, Ethan?
I didn't even mean for that setup, but
Memorial
I think
Day,
that's a
This
great
drops
setup.
on Memorial Day, and we have an amazing sale going on right now. You can get started with our branded magazines for the lowest setup rate that we ever do.
Well, think about this. Like, give people context. You know you have to keep in touch with your database. The question is not should you, it's just how do you do it effectively. So everybody sets out to keep in touch with their database. The two pain points they face is, one, what do they send? And then number two is they don't have the time to do it consistently. So it's like buying a gym membership but never going to the gym. So many people buy marketing platforms or have current marketing platforms, but they never use it. So our whole goal in business is the number one place to get deals is referrals. And how are you keeping in touch to get referrals? Our flagship product is a customizable magazine. So simply put, think white labeling a magazine. So you could have your own Better Homes and Garden if you're a real estate agent, your own health and wealth magazine if you're an insurance agent. And we have found over the years, because it's a magazine, it's different than a postcard. It's different than an email. It stands out, stands in the home for 4 to 6 weeks. It generates a 31% referral rate over the course of sending it. So it's been really, really effective for us. Normally, we charge $300 to set it up because it is a magazine and we put a ton of design and work into it.
Yeah.
We're giving you the ability to do it for $10.
$10 to get started.
So freaking
We're going to have
no-brainer.
a link in the description. Oh, we got our guest holding up an example.
Look at this. Look at this right here.
Look how good we made them look on that magazine.
I know. See, it doesn't even look that good.
Yeah, you guys look even better now, than you actually are because you have your own magazine.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so you could go ahead and we'll have a link in the description of this podcast if you're listening on YouTube or on Spotify or wherever you're listening, that will get you that deal. But you have to take advantage of it today. So if you're listening to this on Memorial Day, make sure to take advantage of that because that price will go up after today. So I want to introduce our guest. We have back on the podcast, Stephen Acree. He is the
What's up? What's up?
He's the founder and team lead of the Acree Brothers Realty team, _1 team in Lynchburg, Virginia.
That's right.
Along with him is his director of sales and product model, who showed off the lovely magazine, Cody Smith, the director of sales. I already said that. Trying to get. We're still finding our rhythm.
You should have just called him Vanna White.
Vanna White.
Yeah, and a question for you guys, because you guys are crushing it. Where'd you guys start out at? So you're obviously crushing it now. What were your numbers when you first started
with the with the magazine?
0.
Yeah. Well,
no.
Josh, you were in a garage.
Yeah, we started in a garage, and the first issue we had 212 agents.
Yep.
With Caldwell Banker Home Sale Services Group. Now they went to...
What was it, 17,000 magazines you printed?
17,000 magazines for the first issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now we're doing millions.
Yeah, now we're doing 2 million an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Great.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's fun.
There's been a lot of ups and downs along the way. Actually, one of the things about, building a business that nobody tells you is everybody's looking for like the hockey stick level growth, or you look at the graph and you want the line to go straight up to the right, right? Because that signifies growth. But growth, if you think of a hockey stick, most of the time you dip before you grow. And growth looks way more like a staircase. You go up, you flatline, you go up, you flatline, you go up, you flatline. Think of how stairs go up. And the whole idea is like every time you grow, in order to get that next level of growth, you almost have to go backwards to go forward. It's like if you're playing golf, it's like I play terrible golf, but if somebody came in and tried to fix my golf swing, I actually play worse for a time trying to implement the changes that I need in order to get advanced. And it's most people do not withstand the suck, as they call it. Like they just can't make it through that level of like dipping or like going backwards. And so they never advance.
Yeah. That's a great analogy.
Yeah, it's our number one problem. Number one problem with agents, and we just shared that with a new agent that just joined our team this morning. But it's just like they're thinking that their level of growth is just going to skyrocket from the beginning. Even with our team, they're like, "I'm coming onto your team so that I can, make a lot of money and all this good stuff." And we're like, "Well, be career focused. Don't be year focused." Right?
Yes.
If you treat this like a career and not just your job, you have to show up every day. You're going to be super successful and beat the 2 years out of the business rather than coming in thinking you're going to be great right off the bat.
Yeah, because experience is like the number one teacher. And like you got to stay in it. It's going to take a while.
Love it.
Unfortunately, there's nothing that trumps experience.
There isn't. No.
And so when I was younger, I'm still young. I'm only 35, but 10 years ago when we were doing this, like I just didn't value experience because I didn't have any really myself. So experience, you just need passion. Now I'm just like, oh my gosh, how do I get people who've done it before in every role? Because they just have seen it before. They know it. It's like if you asked me to hire a sales manager right now, I could do it. Why? Because I've seen a lot of bad sales managers and I've seen good ones. Yeah. And I've walked through it. So I know what success or I know what good looks like. The problem with most of the journey is you don't know what success looks like until you've gone through the experience of knowing what bad looks like.
Not just business experience. Like if someone has like kids and they're married and they realize how long, and how hard it is to sustain a great marriage and have a great relationship with your kids, even that experience relates to business really well.
So true. Yeah.
All right.
So the top of where you've been growth wise?
Every year we hit higher numbers than we've ever done the year before. Our growth has slowed the last 2 years. One of the genesis of making like Josh and I going to this format of podcasting, doing one episode a week, is because our growth had slowed down in sales. And Josh and I were talking about this yesterday. I know we got to get to the headline of the week, but we were talking about, it's funny how in the beginning of our organization, it was all sales isn't everything. It's the only thing. It was all about sales. And then it shifted to being marketing. Like, even though we would still say that slogan, sales isn't everything, it's the only thing, and you got to drive sales. But then it shifted to, wow, we need to market. And we really spent the majority of the time doing it. Now we're in this shift trying to go from 70 million to 100 million. It's all about product.
Yeah.
We're selling 60,000 people. You know what I mean? Like, we just need a product that makes them rave about it so they sell it. And people stay longer, like lifetime value goes up. And then I can already see where it's headed because we were talking about this yesterday. It's like sales, marketing, product, brand. And the ultimate to arrive at is brand. It's where you have built a brand that your sales goes from your brand. Your marketing goes from your brand. Sales and service, I consider kind of the same thing. You're always selling, but your service goes from your brand. Your product goes from your brand, and you build a brand that stands the test of time.
Yeah.
And that's what we're in the journey of. Right now, we're in the product side of it. But
which is funny because, it started off 100% product. It was very, very product focused. And then obviously you have to shift pretty quickly to sales. But started off with making sure the product was the best it could be. All right, let's go into today's headline. So here's 2 trends to watch for. This was reported on at nowbam.com, but Relitix released its agent movement index for April of 2024. And a couple surprising numbers here. If you're kind of looking at the real estate market in general, then you hear these stats, you go, oh, wow, that's maybe not what I would have expected. Number one, a rise in active agents is one of the trends that it found. So the data shows an unexpected increase in the number of active real estate agents, contrary to the declining trend observed in recent months, suggesting a potential revitalization in the industry. And then the second key highlight that it found was a continued increase in agent mobility. So simply put, this means that more agents are moving from one brokerage to another, which continues that trend from late last year. But specifically, April has outpaced March, which is key because that hasn't happened since 2019. So two things to kind of go over there. One, there's more agents than ever. So what does that mean for the market? And then two, more people are moving.
More agents than ever are joining the industry than ever, and less inventory. So,
well, that was the shocking number for me, is the new agents jumping in.
Yeah.
And I was trying to give it some thought, because I'm like, well, it doesn't seem to make sense. We have lower transactions now than we did, like $2 million sales less, right? And you would think that would, a bunch of agents would be jumping out of the business, which I think that is still actually, there are a lot of agents still jumping out, but a lot of new agents coming in. I think it has to do, honestly, with a lot of what's going on with inflation, because I'm talking to a bunch of different people looking for jobs right now. And one of the things that I noticed with them when I'm talking to them is they have potential to get jobs, but not at a salary that makes sense for them. Like if you look at what's happening, like even with our brother's looking for a job right now, and he's getting job offers, but he can't support his family off of the job offers that are coming out. And I think a lot of people are looking for a career where they can dictate their own income. One of his comments to me was literally, "Hey, I don't need to accept a job that I love right now. I'm past that phase of life. I need to accept a job that I can actually go out and make some money. And I don't care what kind of shit I have to deal with."
Dude, I thought we were starting a property management company with him.
It's still in the works.
We're working on it.
But I think that a lot of the new agent rise is, there's still, real estate is the best opportunity to be able to dictate whatever, income that you want to make. And I think that's why
I also think, to add to that, man, is the idea of investing in real estate is such an attractive idea to every single person because of what social media has shown and HGTV has shown on investing. And so I think people also see that added benefit of, like, I could get into real estate. I could also then buy rentals and have this passive income going on, which is true. It just, every time, something rises in popularity, it gets harder and harder for it to be successful for one single individual. You got to be at the top to be able to do it. So it doesn't mean you can't do it. It's just harder and harder. So I think that plays into it too.
Yeah, and I would say, I think what you're kind of hitting at too is turnover across the board. So the mobility of agent leaving, going to another one, I think it's at an all-time high. What are you guys feeling in your company? Do you guys have a high turnover in employees, or?
Yeah, well, in sales we always do, unfortunately. It's we don't from the normal organization, but the sales side, we probably keep 33% of a class. We'll hire 12 people and maybe keep a third of them for the whole year. I would love to get that to 40, 50%, but in the call center world where you're making 200 dials a day, it's tough. And then, we suffer from the same thing everybody suffers from that runs a team. You get a producer up. Our average person makes $134,000 after a year of working with us, if they make it a year, but it's hard to make it a year, right? So in the sales side. So they're making 134, but then what happens to them? Hubris comes in. And all of a sudden they forget everything that you taught them. They forget that you're providing leads. They forget that you're giving them systems, and they're the reason for your success. So they deserve more money, or they can go and get another job, or they don't want to work as hard. And I watched I don't know if it was a TikTok or an Instagram, but it was really powerful. It was a coach talking about he said the death of every organization, every team, every business is you let the disease of entitlement come in. Mm-hmm. And I thought about our sales team and the times we have eroded and gone down and had to build back up. And it's always the disease of entitlement. It's the top producer feeling they are entitled. They should get the better leads. They don't have to work as hard. It's even for myself. It's the entitlement of, I shouldn't have to get in there and train this person. It's always the disease of entitlement. If you can.
It's so true. It's I did it already. Yes. Why do I have to do it again? Well, that's just what it is. Yeah. That is.
You cannot let the hubris come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know Liberty, they're all always hiring, and it's only gotten worse, especially with the work from home and everything. And then I know a couple restaurant business owners, and they can't keep people hired either.
It's so hard.
So it's just like across the board. It's like, I think people, like you said, are looking for that salary to then, try to use their leverage to go do something else.
Yeah. Even in the real estate industry right now, I mean, like just with the shifting market, like that's why everyone is looking to jump ship, is because there's a restriction of transactions, and now you're going to have to get back to the manual tasks, and you have people that want it to be easier, right? And don't want to be better, wish you were better, and wish it was easier. And then they're jumping ship to other brokerages.
I picked this article because I wanted to get you guys' opinion on what would make you jump a brokerage and why you would leave. So I want to get that. Let me pin that for a second, because I want to stay on this idea, though, of keeping your team members. Right. And, I think it's really important for any business owner, any business leader to go, why would someone stay? With me?
I think it's like the biggest thing for me is growth, right? And so like we were even on the panel, that we were talking about the last podcast that I was on, and we had, agents up there where their market share has dipped, right? Because they're purely sphere based. And to be okay with that, if I was at a brokerage where they were just okay with staying at the same place, then I would immediately hop ship, because if you're not growing, you're dying, right? And so I think that's why a lot of people are looking for education right now. The guy that we just hired on today, he did well. He didn't bash his brokerage at all, but he noticed that literally everyone's business is dropping right now, and he wants to be educated. How do I grow my business? So I think right now it comes down to education. Is the brokerage looking to grow? And if they are, do they have the educational pieces that I can go out and take and actually do? Those are the agents that are going to make it in this business too. If they're like, I'm learning based, I want to get in and get in the grind.
Where do you go to learn? Where are you learning from? Like for you guys and your team? Yeah.
So ours are masterminds, right?
Okay.
It's been like the biggest thing. So going to events, like even, the KW family reunion was shocking to me. Every time I go, I'm like, I don't want to go. I don't have the time, right? That's my number one thought. It's everyone's thought. And it's like when you jump out and you get with other top producers, it's just, you get these nuggets that you're like, oh, you're shifting with the market, and you're shifting with the market really well. That I need to take on that. That's what I need to do. And so it's just, you got to get around people that are looking to grow. So for us, it's definitely masterminds and, the events that our brokerage puts together.
Well, and listening to other top producers like Matt Smith, and we're taking from them, like, you're crushing listings right now. What are you doing?
Right.
Ricky Caruth does a really good job of relation to circle prospecting. So what is he doing? And taking from top producers and being like, all right, they're successful. They're doing it right. What can we learn from that?
Yep. R&D, rip off and duplicate. Like if people don't understand that as the core to business, it's one of the core things you have to do is rip off and duplicate. Do not try to reinvent the wheel. Your chances of being the person who creates the wheel is like 1%, 0.0001. Your chance of just making the wheel a little bit better, making the wheel fit your vehicle is way more likely. So do not be afraid.
It never changes.
Correct.
Yeah, so like the Millionaire Real Estate Agent was written a long time ago, but that was Gary's like number one point is like, stop trying to do a different model. Choose the model that's working, and then your creativity can allow for other nuances that are in there.
Bingo.
But you're definitely not recreating the wheel. You'll never recreate the wheel because the principles always are the same, right? You're just making small tweaks to how you go about those principles.
Yeah, I would say retention, sorry to cut you off, Luke, wise with agents, from what I've seen with recruiting, it's actually relationships are one of the biggest things that keep people at brokerages and keep them on team, is that they feel a part of like a family, or they feel like a relationship. Like I'll call someone up and like, man, I'm just really good friends. I don't think I could leave my friends here, or I can't leave my broker because I love her. And was one of the biggest feedbacks I got with recruiting of why people stay. Is because they feel like that, they can't leave because of the relationships that they develop, that they'll break. You have that. And the other one would be, our Keller Williams here has actually done a really great job of recruiting newer agents, or agents that are at the top. And they keep saying that they've hit a level that they think they can't go any further with where they're at.
Yep. especially in this market. Yeah, it's a huge opportunity.
People are seeking that growth. They're seeking that next level. It's the energy. You get around, talk about the relationship, right? Every relationship has an energy about it. Every person has an energy about them. And that's not woohoo. That's just literally like you get around people and you know the people who push you, that drive you, that take you to the next level. And you've got to change your environment, right? A flower can bloom in good soil and die in the desert, but it's the same plant, right? So it's like, what environment are you in? And that environment 9 times out of 10 is the people that you're surrounded with. So talk about like what you guys would look at if you were going to switch a brokerage. What would cause you to make that switch? I know you guys have considered that. I know you've thought about it. Every agent does, whether it's even switching teams or switching the brokerage altogether. What goes through your mind?
I mean, like it is a lot of opportunity, right? You know what I mean? So like, obviously our climate changes and the way you do things change. And so if the opportunity doesn't allow for, again, that growth mindset, right, then we have to go with a brokerage that would allow for that opportunity, if that makes sense. Right.
But does that mean like that? Does that mean like I'm just using this as an example. Your team leader is not challenging you to think differently, is 100%. Not bringing different ideas to the table, and that's what it means by growth mindset. It's like I don't get challenged. There's no new ideas. There's nothing happening here.
I went to our broker. I remember like 3 years ago, EXP had come into our area, right? And they were crushing us. I mean, like they're just taking recruits left and right. And I just went in, I'm very transparent, very loyal. And I went in, I set up a meeting with like 4 of them. And I said, hey, here's the deal. If we're not looking to grow, like EXP is looking to grow in this area, then I'm out, right? And so like I need someone to head this thing of going, we're going to actually be the number 1 brokerage in this area. If you're in it, if you want that, I want that, and I'll be right behind you, leading it with you. But we have to be looking to be number 1, or else I'm going with a brokerage that wants to be number 1 right now. And it did something. And we finally got a team lead in our organization that has just changed the game.
Crushing.
He's just absolutely crushing it, because that is his number 1 goal, right? And then there's a small nuance in there, a small nugget for people, brokerage leaders, that they could take and really help out, which is you're probably not going to be the person that's going to be able to teach a team lead to get to the next level. So what, like if your network is your net worth, right? What do you need to do as a brokerage owner, right? Or a team lead? You need to connect them with other people that are doing the same things or are at the next level that they want to get to. Because it doesn't have to be you, right? It doesn't have to be me as the owner of Akery Brothers. I've got Cody. It doesn't have to be Cody. It could be the next person, right, that you connect them with. Everyone's at a different level, and you need to connect people with the person that's at the very next like tier. Like it shouldn't be like, I shouldn't be connected with Elon Musk. I wouldn't even understand the man, right? I need to be connected with Matt Smith, because I understand Matt Smith and he's at the next level.
That's
right?
a great
point,
like, man.
If you're a broker owner, you need to tackle that and stop trying to play the game like you're everything, right? You don't need to be everything. You need to connect the people to be able to help them.
Yes. Yeah, I think for us, it was like, we are really seeking to build our brand and also to build Steven's brand on panels. So that's like, hey, the biggest added value you could do for us to keep us happy is to like make Steven great, like make his name great, make our brand great, and get us on panels.
It's a little narcissistic, boys.
That will make you saying,
But I'm saying it. Like, he's not saying that. I'm saying that. Like, we need to build this brand up. And that's what we came to him like, hey, that's what we need to do. And that's different than a lot of other people, right?
What's the team lead's name that you guys are saying is a rock star?
Zach Willis.
Zach Willis. What makes Zach an A player? What makes him, why is he versus the other team leads you've had? What makes him a A player?
It's the winning mentality, man. This guy came in with no experience in the real estate field, like 0 experience, and already in a year he's doubled what, our other teams have done. And it's just because he has a winning mentality.
And
right?
that winning mentality, is that shown to you through literally just his activity? Like you look and see him working every day. I'm just curious of if I'm a team leader listening to this, it's like, well, what is that guy Zach doing?
Yeah. People are hurt by critique. B players, players like before, they are hurt by critique, right? Because they feel like it's an attack against their personality, right? Or their personhood. And A players take the critique and they do something with it, right? They realize it's actually an attack against winning, right? And if you want to win, you're going to take those critiques and do something about it. And I think that's been the biggest thing was Zach. It's like every time I meet with him, it's like, yeah, I think you're right on this. Now let's do something about it. And then it's then it's having someone like Cody, it's like the execution piece.
Yes.
So yeah, we got it. This is what we need to do. But then it's executed the next day or the day of. And then that's when you're like, okay, I have someone great.
See, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Like, that's what I noticed, Cody, when you came into the organization. I saw immediately that, oh, you actually do something. Like, you immediately would actually execute on the idea or the topic or whatever it is. And that, to me, signifies the most about an A player. Is an A player. I was listening to Christian Guzman. He's a fitness influencer that I follow. And he put out a great episode. Everybody should go watch it on social media. Because he basically is a rock star on YouTube and Instagram. And I'll tell you a little bit about this guy, right? He had 1 million followers on his YouTube channel and started a new channel because he wasn't happy. He wasn't happy with, he had been doing it since 2012, wasn't happy of how he grew the channel. There was a lot of clickbait. He didn't feel like the engagement was good enough, and he felt like the best move was to start from scratch. The exact same content, the exact same, just not clickbait, just him being real and engagement with his channel. So it gives you a little insight into this guy, and he's grown that up to, but he runs the $100 million+ clothing business. He has supplements, all this stuff. And he said this about A players, because his employee was actually the one interviewing him, this videographer. And the videographer said, what do you look for in great team players? What do you look for in an A player? And he goes, I just look for someone who's great at communication. And he goes, I don't really mean communicate. I mean, like Kevin with the clothing brand. Like, I want Kevin to take the clothing of Alpha Elite and go make it 120% what his vision is and bring to me, this is what I'm doing with the clothing. And I can go, love it, change that, awesome, let's roll. He goes, but what most people do is they sit there and they just work and they never bring their vision to light. And so I'm always like, come on, pick it up, bring it up. And I know that's not an A player.
You almost can't describe it. When someone comes on that's an A player, you immediately know it, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, that's the hardest thing is recruiting. It's just finding the right people, because it's like when you get them, you can't lose them. And they're A players, and it's because of that communication piece.
Alex Hormozi said the billionaire advice he got was, if you don't believe, or if you are doubting if this person's an A player within like 7 days, you already know they're not an A player. He goes, A players, you just know immediately. Like, look at Tim on you guys' team. You just know immediately. And I love Tim to death. Tim, I hope you're listening to this. From a sales talent perspective and all that stuff, I would go, oh, not the strongest salesman, but that guy will kick your butt, because you just know immediately, executor, discipline, good sales, improving, and it's shown 41 under contract, or whatever it is, in 11 months or 12 months or whatever it is. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's the take action, like the sign behind you. It really is those that just go, and they might not even know everything, but they just do. And they just do, and they fail,
and they communicate.
And they do. And then the other part too for me is like a relational. Like Zach is very relational too. So you feel like he understands you understand him, and he does that across the board with everybody. So it's a good piece of like taking action, but also like a person being able to relate to you, and that they don't just feel like you're just this.
And this fear you mentioned, bringing our brand, to the top, right? But like a B player will always fear that you're going to go above them, And an A player's like, I want to grow you because that's going to grow me, right? If I'm the one actually heading this thing and getting you to the top, like that's going to bring me to the top that's too. Great. It's just like partnership, that's different.
Yeah, I love that. Well, we'll put a pin on this so we can move to the next segment. But one thing that stands out to me as I like summarize it in my mind is that you must be values based, because then you do not care about anything else but the values, which translates to the mission, which translates to the vision. It's like you have to be values-based. Most people are emotion-based. They're not values-based. And if you think of why you would ever change a company, change a brokerage, change a team, it all comes down to one thing and one thing alone. I'm not receiving transactionally what I believe I need to receive. And that's in education, that's in financial health, that's in the relationship that I have. It's like I'm not getting from this relationship, the thing that I need. And it's like, so for you as an organization, if you try to go to the whim of every recruit you have and every team, you'll die. Even with content, right? If you try to do that with content, you will end up dying because you're trying to just appease everybody and you appease no one. But if you are value-based, I know what I bring to the table, I know what I'm trying to accomplish, I know what I'm trying to do, then you will eventually attract people and you will build something that lasts the test of time, not just that fails.
We could go on that. Like we could do probably a whole podcast on that. That literally changed our world this last year. Like we finally came up with a mission statement and our core values, but there's something behind our core values that we've always believed in. That's always been our mission. That's always been our core values. But it's just so funny how it changed the game because now we can set standards towards those core values. And when we hold people to the standard, like we're above, like way above what we were last year. I mean, it just changed the game. I couldn't agree more.
It's funny. The books they're right, but it's so hard to understand and apply it. But the books are right because the books tell you should have values.
You got to read the books to do the things to get the experience to know that the books are right. But you still can't
quite understand what it means. I think of all our mistakes, whether it's been with this show, other content that we've done, ReminderMedia, it's all been because we have followed something outside of the main goal. Because like a perfect example would be we had a motivational thing go viral on TikTok, which led us like millions of views. And we got so excited. So what did we do? We changed so much of our content to be motivational. But what's the value of our show? Why did we even create our show? Because we're passionate about growing ReminderMedia, a marketing company, and we want to help people with their marketing. So we went this road of motivation, which I'm good at motivation. We have motivation. But at the end of the day, that's not what I want on my tombstone. That's not what I'm actually trying to drive. I'm not trying to be the best motivational speaker in the world. Yeah. So I should have looked at that as a nice benefit, an awesome thing, going, hey, look, awesome, I have great motivation. But at the end of the day, what I want to be known for is, hey, if you need help with marketing, come to Luke Acree because ReminderMedia can help you with marketing.
Perfect segue. We are going to get to our marketing and sales strategy of the week.
Let's go.
What do you think of the music?
Good timing, Ethan. What a producer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Comment on the video. Should we keep the sound bumper? All right. So this is, Luke, we were talking about this earlier. This is a Make Me Move concept.
Yes.
Sort of like what Zillow did, but on Instagram. So this is an Instagram tip.
Yeah, essentially what I'm trying to do is give you ways to take your followers and to get them into conversation that leads to real estate, or that's about real estate. And so everybody knows on Zillow, some people, will basically put up a price point that says, make me move. So my house might be worth $700,000, but I would never sell. But if you give me $1 million for it, I would move. And so the same type of concept, but you want to apply it to your Instagram story. Get on your Instagram story today and basically go, what price would you sell your home for today? Or what price, could someone offer you to get you to sell your home, and put like a little field there for them to be able to answer. And you can get your followers to tell you. But the key is go to Zillow and take like the screenshot of a Make Me Move so they know very clearly on the story, hey, Make Me Move, what price would you sell your home for today if somebody offered? I'm curious to know. Yep. Boom. And you put that on your story, and that gives you a way to engage your following. You could also do it on a postcard. You can do it on an email, but I just love the idea of you could do it on a phone call, but I love the idea of the Instagram story.
Yeah, we do that. That is literally our script for people. Is like, if you received an offer today, would you be open to looking it over? Right. And then the next question after this, I guess, you know what I mean? I guess it's like, okay, well, what, at what price would you sell?
Yeah.
Right. It's just such a great question, because then they can say, well, I don't know. You tell me, well, what do you think of the Zillow range? Right. What do you think of Zillow's estimate? Well, I don't know that. Well, it looks like it's the 280 to 295, and then it's an open door conversation at that point.
Yeah, that's so good. You guys do that in your circle prospecting calls? That's the pitch.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's working really well. Yep.
You also do that on your investor calls, the one when you're seeking out investment deals?
Both actually pretty much the same. Yeah, they're both the same script. Difference, would be like we're the ones making the offer.
There's
an offer in your house.
There's a human psychology there, because our VP of financial services, so he runs our financial services, corporate sales, and all that stuff. He used to be in the stock market, and he used to do selling stock. And his pitch was similar from a human psychology perspective because he shared it with us before. It's pretty golden. He would call rich people up and basically go, hey, if I had an investment that would, XYZ, are you liquid enough cash-wise to want to put in on an investment like that? And I don't have anything now, but I have things come across my desk every so often, and I'm just trying to make sure I know who to reach out to. Would you be liquid for 20 grand if I had an investment that did XYZ? So it's a similar type concept of like, would you... What would get you and then they go, no, I wouldn't be interested for something that gives me 10%. Hey, well, would it be 20%? Like if I had something, and he would build these a list of prospects that said, yes, I'm liquid for 50,000 that I would invest right away in an investment that would return me 15%. And so he'd build these lists, and he would just, and this, what was beautiful about it, he would do touch point calls. And he'd be like, hey, Steven, just checking in. I just want to make sure, are you still liquid for 50K with the investment of generating you a 15% return? Well, yeah. Well, okay, I don't have anything right now, but I just wanted to make sure you're still liquid. And he would build this excitement. And this guy, pretty insanely successful at doing this stock stuff.
It reminds me of Wolf of Wall Street when he's doing the penny stocks. Or
okay,
whatever.
I'll tell you a funny story. Shout out to Andrew. He was doing it at the same time the Wolf of Wall Street guy was doing it, but not the same thing. But he was a competitive firm, the same like Jordan Belfort, and he was pretty freaking successful at this. He runs our financial services division now, but it's pretty funny listening to him and his pitch. But I just wanted to mention that of going, oh, it's human psychology. That's an investment in property. This is an investment in stock, but it's the same of going, people want to know, or people are curious, well, how much could I make off of this? What could I get from this?
We use that for FSBOs too. It's like, if I could net you this amount of money, would you be open to a conversation? It's like, if I could do this, would you do this? But it works really well.
Brain working, thinking. You always have it kind of in the back of your head. And then especially with your house, everyone always thinks I wonder how much it would sell for. It's just getting that thought of shoot, what would I actually do? Right. Which is one of our first conversations when I owned my first house for real estate. And, asked a question. I was like, man, I'll probably do it for we bought it for 130.
He grabbed himself.
I was like, dude, I'd probably do it if you get me 200 or more. And he's like, dude, we could definitely do that. Let me come over. I'm like, yeah, all right, let's do it. Yeah.
Dude, the panel got mad at me the other day because, like I said, he basically pushed me into hey, do the script with me. And he's like, I got this 1,200 square foot house. It's a 2-1. Person says, well, I'd sell if I got 350. Right. And my response was great. I could see that happening. Maybe we can get that. You know what I mean? And the whole room's like, you can't get 350, for this house. And I'm like, I don't it's not about that. I want to get a face.
It's the relationship. It's the relationship.
I go in, I tell them the truth of what they can get. And you'd be shocked at how many people are like, yeah, I'd do it for 250.
Yeah, exactly. And then also, who do you think they're going to think of when they actually need to sell? They're going to think of the guy that took the time to actually talk to them about their property and what it's worth and educate them on that. And now you drip on them with that. People are just such really short-sighted when it comes to why are you doing these techniques? Yeah, 9 times out of 10, I shouldn't even say that high. Maybe the majority of the time you don't close them on that call. But because you were willing to push through the objection to get to the actual close that you could get, whether it was an appointment, a conversation, a relationship, you're going to get the deal because you pushed through. But most people give up way too soon.
And buyers are liars and sellers are liars. And I'm a liar. When an insurance person, this is my example, an insurance person calls me and they go, hey, would you like to, make a move to my insurance? Right. I could get you a quote and stuff like that. Dude, I don't want to make a move. That's not my goal. Yes. I would like to save money, right? And I would like to make the most money that's possible. And so it's of course, I'm going to, in the forefront, be like, yeah, I'd make a move if, you lowered it from $230 to $100 a month. You know what I mean? I'm going to say something stupid like that, right? Whereas I know you can't do $100 a month. And he says, great, let me see what I can do. Then I'm setting up the appointment.
Yes.
And so they go to 180 instead of 100. I'm probably making a move. Don't call me insurance people.
Yeah.
And this is why I hate sales, but I love sales.
Exactly. That's why also a point, and let's wrap up, to salespeople is the style of sale that has to happen today is very similar to what's happened with content. People don't want clickbait anymore. They want to get to the point as fast as possible. They want you to deliver the value. Whatever your title was, they want to see that right away, like that type of idea. Same with sales. No more dancing around the point, trying to manipulate and influence. Tell people your intent. Tell people directly what you're trying to do. Don't dance around the point. You will see the trust build so fast when you do that, because you're the only one that is doing that with them.
Right.
And that will get them to actually listen to you.
Yep.
So
Love it. You guys want to do a listener Q&A?
yeah, let's do it.
All right. This comes from Country Sister 700. They asked, so this was in relation to the client events podcast that we had. So would love to get your take on it, Stephen, because I know you guys do a lot of client events. They're asking, do you require people to register and provide info for your event, such as, I guess in the example we were using, the ice cream event? But I know you guys kind of probably do a couple different ones. How do you handle the whole, do you make people register? How do you
we make it feel like a requirement, because we want the real reason for the registration is, well, a couple of reasons. It's like we want the real data, right? So if they're registering, like I'd love for them to input their address, phone number, and all that good stuff. And then I also need to know, Cody needs to know how many people are showing up for the food.
Answer this if
you
you
know
want.
what I mean? We need to cook for these people. We need to pay for the ice cream and make sure it's there. But of course, we're not turning people away. Like I'd want 4,000 people to show up and not be prepared, and then we'll all go out to stores and buy as much food as we possibly can, right?
Yeah, so we have like an RSVP deadline and all that. Like we do that, but also if people show up on the day, it's great. Yep. So it's that deadline passed, and we're still calling our clients to remind them, like, yeah, we still have it. Hey, we're past the date. Still show up. We would love to see you, shake your hand, and hang out for a little bit. So yes, we do have a deadline. We do RSVP. We do ask for like email, usually phone number, and how many people are coming. But it's like a soft deadline.
Awesome. Love it. All right. Thank you so much for listening. Before we close out, Steve and Cody, any final words?
Yeah, I mean, this is the best opportunity right now. This is the best market to be in. If you want to grow your brokerage, you want to grow your team, everyone's looking for a change, right? Just like the BAM article came out with all the data from, Relitix, right?
Yeah,
it's like
Relitix.
This is the opportunity, because there's been a restriction of transactions, and everyone wants to know, how do I have a consistent business, right, that I can keep up from something that I control, not like 2021 where you just raise your hand and you get them. It's a different market. It's a different game. So I just just an encouragement for teams and brokerages that this is your opportunity to go out and build up your brokerage the best that it's been. This is your opportunity to get market share, because as soon as we come out of this and you're winning market share right now in this current market, can you imagine when interest rates drop? Can you imagine when there's more inventory on the market? It's going to be the best market ever.
Yep. Yeah.
Awesome.
If you want to win big, from our conversation earlier and just in general, is add value. Like, look to receive value, obviously, from your brokerage. Don't go empty handed, but look to add value in your clients, in your brokerage, in your relationships. Like, the more you can add value, the more you're going to win.
Yeah.
Like,
awesome.
Awesome,
gentlemen. Thank you so much. Thank you all for listening. You can dive deeper into this episode with the show notes and the video and the link to our sale. You can get that over at staypaidpodcast.com.
Oh, yeah, that's your action item. I'm just kidding.
That's your action item.
Go buy from us. No.
Go. And then if you enjoy this podcast and want to show your support, head on over to Apple Podcasts, drop us a 5-star review. The best way to show your support is to share this episode with somebody that you know. You can reach me and Luke at podcast@ReminderMedia.com or messages on Instagram. We are at Stay Paid Podcast. The dad joke of the week, guys. Why can you not hear a pterodactyl go to the bathroom? Why can you not hear? Because the P is silent. Can't hear it because the P.
You're so good, Josh. You're so good.
For this episode of Stay Paid, I'm Joshua Stike.
Guys, I'm Luke Acree. Oh, gosh. Help us. Okay, comment on the YouTube video. If you have questions, we want to know your questions. Send us anything into the Stay Paid Instagram. We would love to answer your actual questions on how we've grown our business, how Stephen and Cody are growing their business. And we're going to have some great guests coming on in the future, so stay tuned for that. Here's your action item, though. We talked a lot about this whole idea of switching brokerages. Why do people stay? And it really revolves around this idea of understanding who your values are, or what your values are. You need to be value-driven, not emotion-driven. You need to take the time to actually put down on paper, what are your values that you're not going to stray away from, that you're going to hold to, because that will define ultimately your brand. And if you remember back to how I opened up this podcast, the journey of building a business is you start with sales and then you move, you got sales, service, marketing, product, and then ultimately the goal is to build a brand. And that brand is going to be built upon your values. Remember, the difference between top producers and mediocre producers in every business is top producers take action. Take action on that today.